Hi everyone, it's Ronita Baird, PEI's medium, and welcome to Angel Talk Thursday. Tonight we are going to be talking about gifted children and how to recognize them. So there's so much that I could say about gifted children. So what I did was, when I was meditating with the angels in connection with what information my viewers would get the most from, we came up with the top 3 things to look for with children to see if they are gifted, or are they just slightly sensitive in nature, or is it something else that's going on with them. So welcome tonight. My name is Ronita Baird, PEI's medium. I host a website, RonitaBairdPEI.com, which I welcome you to check out. I also have a YouTube channel, and all of these videos that I do about different topics get uploaded to YouTube as well. So go ahead and check that out as well. So gifted children. So first of all, I myself was a gifted child. So a lot of what I'm going to be talking about, I experienced personally on a first-hand basis. And when I look back to my childhood, I have to say that I grew up on a farm just on the east coast of Prince Edward Island, and I have to say it was the perfect place for a highly psychic and mediumistic child to be, because growing up on a farm allowed me to be outdoors a great deal of the time. It allowed me to be with a lot of different animals. It also was very peaceful and serene because, of course, not living in a city or a neighborhood, there was a lot of free space, and we spent a lot of time running in the fields and going through the woods and doing a whole lot of outdoor activities that I probably wouldn't have done if I had lived in a neighborhood or in a city type of setting. And that is very beneficial to children who are highly psychic. Now, what I find, it tends to be from my personal experience working with other psychic mediums across North America, is that the majority of them tend to be born into religious families. And with this comes a great deal of feelings of security and safety. However, the opposite end of that is that oftentimes growing up in a Christian-based household parents will often negate the psychic or the intuitive or the mediumistic parts of a child. And in my case, that was so. And that's okay. My mother used to poo-poo all of the psychic TV shows that would come on TV and so on. But nowadays, it's a completely different story for her, because she loves going to my talks, and she loves hearing about my workshops and the different things that I'm up to and doing as a professional psychic medium. Because now that she's educated to that, and she realizes, oh, well, this is just Ronita's normal, that she totally gets it. And that's the key here for a lot of you, whether you're a grandparent of a mediumistic or a gifted child, or you're the parent or the godparent or an aunt or an uncle. You need to recognize and understand that this is their normal. Gifted children have been constantly being born over the centuries. This is not new. This is not supernatural. This is just normal. And once you come to terms with this being their normal, things totally change. Once you leave behind in your own thoughts what you've constructed to be the life of what a medium is or what a psychic is, because a lot of people, and I will use the word prejudice, because the definition of prejudice is where you have where you form an opinion or an idea about something that you have no firsthand knowledge of. And essentially, for a lot of people, unless you have a professional psychic medium in your family or you're living with one, your wife or your husband or your spouse is one, then you really don't have that full connection. And even still, my own children would probably say, well, I don't really know a whole lot about what she does. My coworkers, same thing, because as well as being a professional psychic medium, I'm also a full-time school teacher, an educator, and I'm a music teacher, and I also teach core French. And I've been a teacher for over 22 years in Prince Edward Island. So I also have that knowledge base of working with young children. And I have taught children from kindergarten age up to the age of grade 9, and many different subject areas. My expertise is in music and working with children to build their musical skills. So anyway, that being said, let's focus in on a gifted child and what they look like and sound like, so that can help you decipher, okay, does the child that's coming to mind for me, do they fall into this category or are they something different? Okay, so first of all, the first thing we need to recognize and understand is that everybody is born intuitive. Everybody. I'll say that one more time. Everyone is born intuitive. So what that means is that you have the ability to sense danger. You have that ability to feel and sense the energy in a room to a certain degree or a certain point. When you're younger, usually below the age of 6 years old, most children under the age of 6 years old will have an experience where they connect with a deceased relative or friend. That is normal. It may look and appear like them simply, you're holding an 18-month-old and they simply turn around and point to a picture on the wall and say the person's name when they shouldn't even know or recognize who the person is or what their name is. It can simply be a baby being in a crib and you're standing over the crib looking down at the baby, but the baby is completely taken, their eyes are in a totally different direction and they're staring into space, what appears to you staring into space, and they're actually connecting with a guardian angel grandparent watching over them in their crib, which can be beautiful as well. You can often catch young children, especially around the ages of between 2 and 4, playing with their imaginary friends. And sometimes they'll have actual names, and sometimes these imaginary friends are their guardian angels, and sometimes they are deceased relatives. Either or, it doesn't matter. And when the children have these experiences, once they become more socialized, and that is usually when they start into kindergarten and school, that's when that side of them will naturally just turn down. It'll just kind of naturally shut itself off, and they will stop having these experiences, because being socialized in school or kindergarten or even a daycare, they realize that these things just aren't what normally people talk about. So they begin to naturally dial it down to a level that is more socialized, okay? So just so that you understand. So the type of gifted child that we're talking about is the child that goes beyond that age of 6 to 8, where things really begin to amplify. In other words, turn up, and more situations begin to happen. And because the child is often being socialized at the same time that these experiences are repeating, the child will often begin to have fear. And with the fear comes anxiety. And with fear and anxiety in a child comes fear and anxiety in the parent or the caregiver, because they're wondering, what the heck's going on here? Why aren't they able to sleep at night? Why isn't this happening? Why isn't that happening? This isn't normal. And essentially, it is all normal. It's all normal So let's get down to the nitty-gritty of it. So the first thing that you will recognize with a gifted child is that they see dead people. And not only do they see dead people, they communicate with dead people, okay? So the thing that you have to recognize and understand that a psychic child would do is they will often wake up in the morning and say they've had an experience in the nighttime or first thing in the morning when they were chatting with, and they will name the person. And that person will most likely, if you look in your family tree, you will most likely be able to connect the name that they give you to an individual in your family tree. And sometimes it will be right in the family unit. Sometimes it might be cousin or grand aunt or something, and so on. But you will normally be able to connect that name. And that's a very strong key connection for you, as opposed to them just giving you a random name that has no meaning, okay? Oftentimes when they connect with the dead people, they'll be seeing them at the end of their bed in the middle of the night, or they'll be seeing the man in the closet. And that's different, again, than children just experiencing night terrors or imagining that there's a monster in the room or a dark person in the room. That's totally different, okay? So the key difference is the child is able to give you a name, and sometimes through the conversations with the deceased person, they're going to be giving you specific stories, and sometimes they'll say something like a statement to the future, like, Grampy says that you and Dad are not supposed to do da 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 da. So that's where, and it's a fine line recognizing normal fear-based imaginings of children from 6 years until about 9, 10-ish versus the psychic child or the gifted child who is able to communicate with a specific deceased person, okay? And of course, depending on and one other key point when it comes to a gifted child is that it will be continuous throughout their lifetime. So the thing that we have to really focus on is if this type of thing begins to creep up in late puberty, like 16 years and plus, we have to make sure that we are ruling out other things that could be bringing on an episode of some mental illness. So you have to watch that. So if there's a 16 to 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old that suddenly starts seeing, and they haven't been doing it all along, just to be on the safe side, you need to make sure that you look into this and make sure there is no underlying medical condition of some sort going on. Because you don't just suddenly start at 18, 19 years of age, start seeing dead people and talking to dead people and receiving messages from them. Remember what I said about in the beginning with that 8, 9, 10-year-old. They are communicating with a specific person. They'll be able to name them. They'll be able to tell you that the times of the day that they communicate with them will be repetitive. So if it's 4 to 6 a.m. in the morning, if it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, those times tend to repeat. And that's a key point as well. And then the other thing is that through the course of the conversations, they will say things that actually make sense and that will actually be able to fit into your life in some way, shape, or form. Okay, so recognize and understand that. So with that as well comes, with the gifted child, comes a difficult time sleeping. So obviously, because spirit is electrically charged, the best time of the day that they can actually come really close to the physical world is the middle of the night. So unfortunately for a gifted child that sees and speaks to spirit, nighttime can get a little bit busy. And when you're in human form and you're trying to get a good night's sleep and you've got dead people showing up at the end of your bed trying to have conversations with you, it can be difficult for a child. And when it happens over and over and over again, that's when the fears and the anxieties begin. And the fears and anxieties in part are caused because of the lack of sleep, and it just becomes amplified the less that they are able to get a good night's sleep as well. And then those fears tend to not just stay with the nighttime, they tend to stay with the dark. They tend to develop fears associated with the dark, or fears about being left alone in their room. And they tend to hear things an awful lot at night. And that's simply because spirit people can be a little bit noisy. I mean, stop and think about this. If someone was alive and if somebody living in the household is walking in and out of your bedroom all night long, that can get a little bit annoying. But you can see them and hear them and you know them. But if it's deceased loved ones that perhaps the child doesn't remember, and they're coming and going, that can leave them a little bit unsettled. And thus, that's when you get a lot of the nighttime fear and fear of darkness and just not getting a good night's sleep, because it can be really, really busy for them. The third thing is the level of sensitivity that these gifted children have. So this is different than having sensory issues. So as a school teacher, a lot of children, well, not a lot, but there's a small majority of children that have sensory issues. So for example, in my music classroom, it's quite large and the sound tends to bounce around the walls. It's quite vivid visually for children because it's got a lot of color in a lot of places, and there's a lot of instruments here, 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 and here. So it's busy visually, it's busy auditorily, and for someone who has sensory issues coming into that, it can really set them off in a lot of ways. But that's different than being a sensitive gifted child. So a sensitive gifted child is sensitive to energy, whereas the sensory issues that a child can sometimes develop through their early childhood years are visual and auditory. And to the touch, because sometimes with these sensory children, touch or that snuggling close will actually bring them a sense of peace, whereas the opposite can be said for a gifted child, because a gifted child often doesn't want anyone coming into their space with touch. So a gifted child, touch is not something that they really want a whole lot of with strangers, or with, well, not, let me be more specific with that, because I hear Archangel Michael saying, oh yeah, well, nobody wants to be touched with strangers. But essentially, they have their one or two favorite people that they don't mind sharing their energies with. But more than that, it's like, no. So they may be moms. They don't mind mom, but maybe not dad. Or perhaps there's a sibling, like perhaps they're a twin, and they snuggle up with the twin, but everybody else is like, no, stay away from me. So they don't like their space being invaded with a lot of people, a lot of different energies. So they tend to be very sensitive to the energy of people, places, and things. So when it comes to places, they don't like huge crowds of people. Places like going to church when it's packed on a Sunday morning. They don't like going to malls where you can't get outside and see the outdoors and get the fresh air, and there's so much energy just cramped into these big spaces. You know, things like concerts would be challenging for them, and things like that. So that's different. So being sensitive, and what they're actually being sensitive to is the energy that's left behind from all of the people that's been in and out of these places, because they're picking up on it. It's kind of like, I often say to people, I go to the grocery store, I have to do a meditation and buffer myself energetically. Otherwise, I'm picking up on energies and go up and down the different aisles. When I touch the handlebars of, the carts, like I'm picking up on the energies of the people that touched it before me. And it's just, it can be overwhelming. So when you have a young child and they're kind of thrown into all of this energy, it can really overwhelm them in a lot of ways, okay? But again, there's a fine line there between that type of sensitivity and sensory challenges with a young child in school, okay? So when it comes to being sensitive to things, a lot of times these gifted children are sensitive to the foods that they eat. And a lot of times they will come in and they will not want junk food, not want sugar, and so on and so forth. They can really benefit from having a really good diet. And they will often go for fresh fruits and vegetables over anything else. And they tend to they tend to go vegetarian as much as possible because meat doesn't sit well with their spirits. So just be aware of that. So, and if that's the case, that's not a big deal. That's an easy fix, right? So, I mean, it's the same as if your child was diabetic, you would ensure that their diet followed a healthy diet for a child with diabetes. It's the same thing. If you have a gifted child, you have to be aware of their diet, and you have to teach them about how to look after themselves dietary wise. Because otherwise, if their diets get off, they can really get out of shape really, really easily. So some great books are The Care and Feeding of Indigo Children by Doreen Virtue. Another great book on psychic children is I think it's called The Crystal Children by Doreen Virtue. And just be careful when you're online looking at different articles on different blogs. Make sure that you ask the angels to guide you to the best article on psychic children for you, and you'll always be guided to the right one. And then ask the angels to sift away any BS article, because you don't want to spend your time sorting through things that really don't matter and don't make a difference in your child's life. So we're going to continue on with some of this next Thursday. So Angel Talk Thursday, we do it every Thursday night at 6:30 to 7:15 p.m. So we're going to be doing a lot of that. I'm going to be talking a bit more in detail about how to help these children kind of overcome their fears, how to help them get a good night's sleep, and what you should be feeding them, and how to help them, when going to the grocery store and things like that. Okay. All right, so yes, and so now it is time to switch gears and start giving some messages or answering questions. So if you have questions about a gifted child and how to help them, certainly don't hesitate to put it down here. I'd be more than welcome to answer those for you. Okay, so I'm just going to go through here and say hello to a few people. So Eleanor Summers, hello. Susan White, Michelle Iglesias, hi. Melissa Farrar, hi. Adrian Jones, hello. Amber Johnson, hi Amber. Okay. Michelle Iglesias. So Adrian Jones writes, my son is 19 months and he always says hi to no one there. That's right. That is so normal for so many 19-month-olds. Very, very normal. And the thing that you need to realize is that when you were probably his age, you were probably doing the same thing. It's just it was poo-pooed in the household and nobody really paid attention to it. But the thing is, nobody tells a 19-month-old that, hey, guess what? You're not supposed to see your grandfather or your great-grandfather on the other side. You're not supposed to have conversations with them. But guess what? Our loved ones in heaven do come around our household. They watch over our little ones off. That is so common to see a grandparent or a great-grandparent in visiting the home and watching over these young children. So, you know, you have these heavenly helpers coming in to look after your children. So if your 19-month-old is actually seeing them, that's a yay. So good for you. So just recognize that and just, you know, ask them, you know, who are you looking at? And see what he has to say. Okay, let's see here. Oh, Michelle. Oh, you're very welcome, Michelle. And I really hope that you guys have a safe trip back to Ontario and that you settle in quickly and easily. And it looks like you're going to have a wonderful weekend here on Prince Edward Island. Maybe get down to the beach a little bit before you leave, for sure. Hey, Barb, how you doing? Long time no see, for sure. Janet Victor, hi. Hammy, I hope I say this right. Sivret, message from my mother-in-law. Okay, so I like to have, if I'm going to leave a message from a loved one in heaven, I really want that first name because there could be a couple of mothers on the other side, or mother-like energies that want to come through for you. Let's see. Okay. Kim McDonald. Hi, Kim. Hi, and a huge energy shift for me going in a new direction. That's wonderful. Let's pull a card for you and see what the angels have to say about that. Okay? So I'm being guided to use the messages from your Angels Oracle card deck for that. Let's see here. See what the angels want to say about this. There's been the month of August, there was huge energy shifts. And coming into the month of September was just kind of like the residual effect of it all. And there's going to be so many shifts and changes over the next 3 months. It's going to be powerful. So grab onto that energy and just let it propel you forward in life and see where it takes you. Okay, so the card that came forward for you is Ray. And it says, yoga and exercise are essential to your well-being, peace of mind, and spiritual growth right now. So the key piece here is your spiritual growth and how much you're shifting and changing. So even though you're shifting and changing, please don't deny the body its need for exercise and yoga or meditation, just so that you can slow your mind down, bring yourself some peace and calm, and just really give yourself permission to fully connect and stop and just be in that moment. Okay? All right, so I'll leave you with that. Good luck with all of those changes coming up. Laura Lee Goody, hello. Michelle McKenna, a message from my mom. So again, I'd like to know the first name and the relationship before I connect with the deceased, please. Teresa Rankin, hi Ronita, do you have a message for me? I didn't get one last time. I really appreciated your repeat. Okay, Teresa, well, let's pull a card for you and see what the angels want to say. So I'm being guided to pull from the Saints and Angels Oracle card deck for you. And okay. All right. And I don't know if you started a new job recently, but I feel like there's a change in a job or a position for you. Okay, let's see here. Oh, you got the Mother card, Mother Mary. That's a beautiful card. So when I tune into the energy of this card, specifically for you, I'm being guided to say that there's a lot of shifts and changes happening for you. And I see the energy of Mother Mary surrounding you. So it's when I connect with your energy and I see this beautiful blue-green light around you, that's the energy of Mother Mary. And Mother Mary's message to you is that you are deserving. There feels like there's a lack of deservedness within your spirit. So that means you feel like, oh, I don't deserve this and I don't deserve that. And oftentimes when we allow that to sit within our spirit, we co-create that in our life. So, and it happens in situations. So, well, I don't deserve this position, or I don't deserve that recognition for the work that I do. And when that sits within us, it seeps out into our life, an actual situation. So Mother Mary's coming forward to lift that energy off of you. So she wants you to hear these words, and she wants you to know what's happening, so that you're giving her permission to work with your spirit, to work with your heart, to pull and lift that undeservedness or feelings on any level, all of these thoughts and feelings on any level, pulling those from you and replacing it with peacefulness and the recognition and understanding on all levels and all directions of time and space. I'm being guided to say that you are deserving of a wonderful, peaceful, and truly exciting life. So the key piece there is the recognition that you are deserving. Do not allow your thoughts, take control of those thoughts, and don't allow them to seep into your life anymore. Okay? And I will leave you with that. Okay. Hammy. Okay. Message from Roma. Okay, let's see here. Let's see. Okay, let me take a minute to connect to the Roma. All right. Okay. So Pammy, she's very excited to give you a message, and she's like, oh my God, I can't believe. She's because what she says to say is that she's only been talking to you and trying to get you to connect with the medium for quite a while now. So she's really happy that you finally have connected with the medium so that she can get her message. I'm around you all the time, she says, all the time. She's mentioning something about a gift. Okay, so I have to talk about a gift. It feels like this gift is something that she would have left for you, okay? You're a true treasure, she says. You're just a true treasure. And I feel very close to you. So part of when I connect with people is I feel their feelings and their thoughts within me, and I feel really close to you, and I feel really close to you as I'm passing away as well, she says, because I feel like your touch was soothing to me. So I'm sharing that with you, because if she's sharing that with me, that's really important for her, okay? I know that I have to pull the month of April as being very connected to her life in some way. I'm now also being shown, I think it's the number 2, but it's being shown as a Roman numeral, so it's like I. So I'm like, okay, sometimes when they show me numbers like that, there's a duality in the meaning. So I'm picking up that also the number 11 is being important as well. So when Spirit gives me a number, we're talking about either a date or the 11th month or something about the number 11 that would be specific to them in some way, shape, or form. Those little evidential key pieces that come forward when I connect with Spirit. Okay, I know that I'm seeing an apple, and I'm feeling like the apple is connected to being a teacher in some way or working in the education field, okay? And she says, tell her I'm singing and dancing again. I'm singing and dancing, and I just feel like she's like moving. And I feel like she was a mover and a shaker when she was alive too. She's a lot of fun, and she says, I know you miss me, but you can have fun without me. And that's her way of saying that she wants you to start having fun like you would have had fun with her when she was alive, okay? She's going like this, like the blowing the kisses big time at you. And she's saying, with all my heart and soul, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, she says. And she says, I am at peace. And she says she's at peace with the way she left everything as well. So I'll leave you with that. Okay? All right. Tanya Fraser LeClaire. Tanya, as soon as I connect with your energy, there's so much light around you. I just feel like something really exciting is going to come into your life really, really soon. And I don't know, maybe you're expecting, I don't know, but there's a lot of light around you. So let's pull a card for you as well, okay? And I'm also being guided to say, before I even go to the card, that something really, like November is going to be a really great month for you. It feels like it's like right around the 13th or the Remembrance Day time there. Okay, all right. So the card that comes forward for you from the angels is healthful eating. And the saint at the bottom is Saint Raphael the Archangel. So Archangel Raphael is an archangel of healing. And anytime you or anybody in your family or friends, circle of friends, needs healing, Archangel Raphael is the archangel that can come forward and bring healing to you. And I also call on Archangel Raphael to bring the best healthcare professionals to an individual, to help them get appointments when they need them, and to really help them to get through the BS and get down to what it is that's really happening in the body and occurring in the body to bring healing. So when Archangel Raphael comes around you, I'm being guided to talk about your health. So healthy eating, of course, yes, but as well to really hold with you the following statement, that food is medicine. I don't know if you've ever read The Medical Medium by Anthony Williams. He's a Hay House author, and he also has a weekly Hay House radio talk show, Call In. And he talks about just different aspects of health. And he talks specifically about the really challenging health diagnoses that exist today. Things like chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia and hypothyroidism and these mega types of diseases that are occurring in many, many people. And he talks about the importance of supporting the health of the body using food. So this is a very strong statement for you to really, well, first of all, look into the medical medium, read a little bit online about him, go over to your Facebook page and like his page, and then follow it, and you will be guided to what you need to bring the best medicine for you, because I feel like you're really tired, and I feel like you're low in iron as well. So just be aware of that. Healthful eating, Saint Raphael the Archangel, and I will leave you with that. Okay. Hi, Laura Lee Goody would love a message. Okay, Laura Lee, let's pull a card for you then, all right? So Laura Lee, when I connect with your energy, the month of October is really important around you. And I don't know whether there's a birthday in the family coming up in October, or there's somebody on the other side that has a birthday in October and saying hello, because look at the card that came for you. Heaven is watching over you. Guardian angel. And when I look at this card, I just see a grandmother, great-grandmother image just leaning forward and watching over you. So this card comes forward to say that you're being watched over. You've got a grandmother, guardian angel watching over you big time, girl. Isn't that awesome? And she says, okay, she says to say hello to you. Okay. There's something about blue in connection to a baby boy, because sometimes spirit will show me like colors in regards, I'm seeing blue in regards to a baby boy, just so that you're aware of that. And So I have some personal information coming forward, and that's okay. I'm not going to share it here and now because sometimes when personal things come forward, as a professional, all right, in this type of setting, it's best to keep these things private. But I will say this, okay? Your grandmother is, or grandmother, great grandmother, is watching over you from above. She's really helping you in so many ways to make all of your wishes and dreams come true. Okay? And I will leave you with that one. All right. Okay. Okay. Michelle McKenna, my mom, Darlene. Okay. Right. The first thing I get when I connect with your mom, Darlene, Michelle, is that she's not alone on the other side because she's making me aware of being surrounded by loving family members that have gone before her, she says. And since her passing as well is what she's making me aware of, because she makes me aware of people passing since she passed as well. I know to say the number 13 is important. I know that the fall around October is really important for her to talk about. And I'm feeling like March and April are 2 months that I need to make, need to bold as well. And I feel this is in regards to children or grandchildren's birthdays. And okay, she's sending anniversary wishes. So I know there's someone on the somebody here that needs an anniversary wish. Okay. She's showing me dangling keys, and I feel like your mom had a great sense of humor. So here's the kicker. This is funny. Well, maybe not be funny, but I feel like your mom is saying that she plays with your car keys in such a way that you're in a rush in the morning, and you're going at the door, and you're like, where to put my car keys? Where to put my car keys? And you're spending, you know, an extra 5 minutes trying to find these car keys. But sometimes spirit will do that, and she's like, and because they just like to have fun with us in some way, shape, or form. And sometimes it's because they want to keep us safe, because that extra 5 minutes staying off the road is just enough to, I mean, it's enough to rattle your nerves in the morning if you're trying to get to work on time, but it's also enough to keep you in the safe zone where you just missed that accident. So do you understand that? Because she is watching over you like a hawk, she said. And speaking of hawks, she wants you to look up into the sky for the eagles and the hawks, those big birds of prey, she says. Okay, because she loves watching those. Like, she loves those birds, and she loves the powerful spread of the wings. And I feel like she enjoyed watching them when she was alive as well. So that's her choice of how to say hello and let you know that she's watching out for you. Okay, so I will leave you with that. Krista Griffin, message from my grandmother Doris. Oh my God. So there's a happy anniversary right off the bat. The double, okay, yeah, the double heart symbol. I also hear double ring ceremony. So somebody in the family, she's making me aware of the double ring ceremony. So years ago, there were some times when people two couples would get married on the same day. So I know that she's talking about either two couples get married on the same day, or there are two couples that got married on the same day years apart, because I heard that specifically from her right off the bat. Okay. Okay. I know that there's something about Valentine's Day or mid-February that she's bringing me to, as well as not being a real happy time of the year for someone. Okay. You know, she's got a great spirit. Lots of life. I feel like she laughed a lot. I feel like she didn't didn't take too much past, like she keeps going this, like I didn't take too much past and this, that, and the other. So like she didn't get involved in a whole lot of drama because like I didn't have time to waste on any of that is what she's saying, okay? And she's saying, you need to do the same thing. She says, don't give any pass to that grandma, because she's kind of giving you, she is giving you advice from the other side, because she says if you get wrapped up in that drama, it just drains your energy and makes you tired and fretful and upset, and so she keeps going like this. So you're not to take any mind of that, she says. Just move forward and do your own thing and don't worry about what anybody else has to say. I love you, I love you, I love you, she says. I love all of my babies, and this, of course, all of her babies are like everybody, okay? Okay, and I hear her saying something. One thing you can do for me, dear, she says. There's something about looking in an old chest, because there's something special there for you. So I'm not sure if it's a big one or if it's like a jewelry box or something. Okay, but you have to talk to your mother about it, she says. And she's like, yeah, that's it. So I'm being guided to pull from this card deck. And so for anybody that has a loved one on the other side, this card deck is absolutely wonderful. It's called the Talking to Heaven Oracle Card Deck. And it was published by Hay House, and it's by Doreen Virtue and James Van Prague. And these messages are from loved ones on the other side. So the cards work like just any other Oracle card deck. You get the message that you most need. So I'm showing you this deck so that you yourself, if you have a loved one on the other side, you can order this at Indigo or Chapters, or order it online, right from Hay House Publishing themselves, and you can start to use it. It comes with a guidebook, so that's another thing. And anyway, so let's see, Crystal, what your grandmother wants to leave you with tonight for a message. You are never alone. So just as she is never alone, you are never alone either, because she says she's calling all of the loved ones on the other side, like all of your family, and we're talking generations here. Like she says, you've got an army of loving spirit people around you. And just like she wants me to hold the lighthouse, because she says, you're that special light. And she says that light within you needs to shine really brightly while you were here on this earth. And you are not to let anyone else deplete that light within you, because that light was placed within you, a very genuine reason for you to use it and share it with others. And she's stepping forward now to be with you, and she's going to help you to sort through all of that. Don't pay attention to those people. Don't pay attention to those people, types of people. Okay, so she's going to be helping you and guiding you. Right? Okay, and as I look at the clock, I see that I have gone over time. So I'm going to bring this to a close. I will be back here next Thursday at 6:30, and I look forward to you joining me. I really hope you do join me, and I really hope you don't just click on halfway through to get the message part. I hope you actually listen to the first 15 to 20 minutes of the talk, because it's about all aspects of spirituality. And you know what? If you want a message from a loved one, or you want a message from your angels, or pulling a card from a deck, that's great. But learn about spirituality and all of the things that I do, so that perhaps someday you can be that guiding light for that young, sensitive child. So I'm sending you off with so much love, so much light, and so many angel blessings for a powerful and wonderful week ahead. Bye, my friends.